After encountering a legendary red dragon in a dungeon, the adventurer Leos Tudan and his party are almost killed until his sister Falin is swallowed by the dragon. Her last act is to teleport everyone safely out of the dungeon. Leos hopes to retrieve Falin so she can be resurrected, but this must happen before she is fully digested, or she will be dead permanently. Unfortunately, 2 party members quit, leaving only elven mage Marcel Donato, halfling thief Chilchuk Tims, and no money. Since they need their equipment to survive and cannot sell it to buy food, Leos makes the radical suggestion to hunt and eat dungeon monsters. After spending some time convincing Marcel, they agree to try it. Their initial attempt to cook a monster scorpion is disgusting but does draw the attention of dwarf warrior Senshi, a veteran of monster cookery. With his assistance, they produce a scorpion and mushroom hot pot even the reluctant Marcel finds delicious. Learning they seek the red dragon, Senshi joins their party. Moving deeper into the dungeon, they camp for the night while Senshi makes supper, a tart made from the fruits of giant carnivorous plant monsters. Senshi lectures the group on the typical poor diet of adventurers, which is high in fat and low on vegetables. As Marcel is craving meat, Senshi recommends either hunting a basilisk and its eggs. During the hunt, another adventurer is poisoned, but Senshi shows them cooking then eating the basilisk acts as an antidote. Requiring vegetables, Senshi harvests screaming mandrakes using a shortcut method. Marcel tries to demonstrate the proper method of harvesting mandrakes, but messes up and is attacked by a bat monster. Leos helps her feel better by pointing out things she is good at. Senshi discovers harvesting mandrakes the right way makes them taste sweeter, so he credits Marcel for teaching him something new and cooks mandrake and basilisk egg omelets. Moving to the next floor, Chilchuk takes the lead as the area is full of booby traps. Unfortunately, Senshi delights in setting off traps on purpose and repurposes a fire trap and a hot oil trap into an oil fryer to make mandrake and bat meat cakeage. During the process, the two gain a better appreciation of each other as Chilchuk shows Senshi how to manipulate traps in exchange for basic cookery skills. When Leos' sword is damaged, he recalls how he first found it. 3 years ago, he and Falin were novices and Leos was killed for the first time by a living armor monster but managed to keep the armor sword once he was resurrected. By chance, the party is now in the same area where suits of armor congregate and end up surrounded by them. Marcel suspects the armors are not monsters themselves, but empty puppets magically controlled by another monster. Leos confronts a larger armor guarding an egg and his damaged sword is destroyed. He realizes the armors are actually the shells of dozens of small, mollusk-like monsters. Using the egg as bait, Leos defeats the larger armor then distracts the smaller armors and they safely escape. Deciding to treat them like giant shellfish, Senshi removes all the monsters from the large armor and cooks them in several ways. While edible, everyone agrees the armors are flavorless. Leos takes the large armor's much stronger sword as a replacement but makes the odd decision to hide from the others that one monster is still alive in the sword's handle. Senshi reveals the third floor is populated only by undead and golems. Fortunately, golems are made of mud perfect for growing vegetables, so he keeps 3 at his secret campsite. After enjoying stewed cabbage, Marcel is disgusted that Senshi uses toilet waste as fertilizer. Senshi reveals the only thing stopping more dangerous monsters rising to the surface are the golems, but only his 3 remain alive. By keeping them healthy, he keeps adventurers on upper floors safe. They take the extra vegetables to a merchant, but the shop is attacked by orcs led by Chief Zahn. It transpires Senshi intended to trade with the orcs all along as they are friends. The orcs are struggling as the red dragon has been invading their territory. Senshi gives them the vegetables and also shows them how to make bread. Marcel and the orc chief argue due to their species' past conflicts, but when the chief's infant son interrupts, they manage to share a meal. Leos shares the party's reason for hunting the dragon and his goal of conquering the dungeon. As such, the chief reveals the dragon was last seen 2 floors down on the 5th floor. An adventuring party led by Kabru are also attempting to conquer the dungeon. After slaying an undead, they find treasure in its pockets. Later, Leos and the others find Kabru and his party mysteriously dead and the monster in Leos' sword goes berserk. It turns out the treasure Kabru found are actually venomous insects called treasure bugs. After defeating them, Leos continues to conceal the monster's presence. To Marcel's horror, Senshi reveals some of the bugs are edible and can be made into fried snacks. After Chilchuk throws the inedible treasure into an abyss, Senshi reveals they are inedible due to it being real treasure. Leos suspects the monster tried to protect him, so he names it Kensuk. They are then attacked by ghosts using ice magic, causing everyone to remember Falin used to treat ghosts kindly as she could communicate with them. Senshi drives them away with his version of holy water, a mix of alcohol, sugar, slime organs, herbs, and sweet treasure bugs boiled over blessed candles. The ghosts eventually disperse, but Senshi discovers their coldness froze the holy water into an ice cream he dubs exorcist sorbet. Leos wishes Falin were there with them. The party discover a disused dining hall where paintings turn out to be living picture monsters. Leos decides to see if being absorbed by the paintings makes the food inside them edible. As he passes from painting to painting, he witnesses scenes from the life of a Prince Del Gal. In each painting, Leos encounters an elf who remembers and ultimately tries to kill him, believing he is there to assassinate Del Gal. Proving the food is not real, the party remains hungry and sets up camp. Chilchuk spots a mimic but says nothing as he despises mimics for always disguising themselves as treasure chests. However, while everyone asleep that night, he accidentally lets a treasure bug lure him into the mimic's room and becomes trapped. Figuring out how to open the door, he escapes the mimic, which is crushed when the door closed on it. With everyone now awake, Senshi boils the mimic in salt water, since without its disguise, a mimic is just a giant crab. Chilchuk eats it reluctantly as his experience has only made him hate them more. Chilchuk also admits that he is 29, meaning Leos is actually the youngest party member. Kabru and his party are resurrected and tricked into believing they were killed by Leos' party. Meanwhile, on the 4th floor, Leos' party must cross a lake using magic, only for Senshi to refuse, revealing he has so much monster blood and oil in his beard that magic does not work on him. When he summons his pet Kelpie, and she cunningly tries to drown him. With Leos' help, Senshi kills her. Leos and Chilchuk later find Kabru's party has died again, this time drowned by mermaids. Chilchuk rejects Leos' suggestion they eat the latter. Leos makes porridge from grain Kabru dropped, mimic, and lake weeds. Chilchuk is furious when Leos secretly adds mermaid eggs. Marcel makes soap from Kelpie fat, which Senshi uses to bathe for the first time in years, allowing them all to cross the lake. They are then attacked by a kraken, which Senshi kills with a mermaid's trident. Due to the kraken's bitterness, they instead eat the giant parasitic worms infecting it. When Leos foolishly tries to eat it raw, he becomes infected with a smaller worm, leaving him with a stomach ache. While considering the effects of adventurers on the dungeon's ecosystem, Marcel remembers her youth as an academy student when she dreamed of creating a balanced dungeon that would be safe for adventurers. By contrast, Falin was aimless and easily distracted, yet achieved better results by sneaking out to experience a real dungeon. Marcel accompanied her on one trip and realized even dungeons that seemed chaotic were delicately balanced, and designing one herself would be much more complex than she naively assumed. This gave her great respect for the sorcerer who created this dungeon, as he supposedly did so despite being insane. Chilchuk decides they are only 2 days away from the dragon and plans their sleep schedule accordingly. Marcel misses other girls, causing her to angrily remember the party members who quit after Falin died. Marcel later accidentally provokes an Undine. She eventually escapes but runs out of magic to recover from her blood loss, delaying the party's progress. To recover, Senshi feeds her ingredients high in iron, namely grilled kelpie liver, angering her when they eat all the other tastier meat without her getting to try any. Meanwhile, another party smell them cooking and become curious. The other party consists of gnome researchers Mr. and Mrs. Tansu, bodyguards Kaka and Kiki, and female dwarf Namari. Marcel is unhappy as Namari is one of their party members who quit. The Tansus arrogantly assume the Undine will not attack them, resulting in Namari's death. After resurrecting her, Mr. Tansu's further impatience gets Kiki attacked by a tentacle monster. Once it is defeated, Senshi discovers tentacles pair well with vinegar. As it will take a week for the Undine to calm down, the Tansus decide to return to the surface. Leos tries to send Marcel with them, but she refuses. Marcel then asks Namari to rejoin the party, but she cannot due to financial reasons. To recover her magic, Marcel decides she must eat the Undine. Senshi offers his cooking pot and lid as a shield, which Namari realizes are forged from adamant. Namari and Senshi trap and kill the Undine by boiling it, after which Marcel turns it into a kelpie and tentacle stew. Before departing, Leos asks Namari about the other former member, Shuro. Namari reveals that since he is in love with Falin, she believes that he too is trying to rescue her. While trying to get to the 5th floor, a frog monster attacks the party on a staircase infested with tentacles. Chilchuk discovers frog skin is immune to tentacle venom, allowing him to rip out a tentacle blocking a crossbow trap, killing the frog. To bypass the tentacles, Leos makes frog suits while Senshi makes pasta from tentacles and frog meat. Reaching the castle city, the party find the orcs' abandoned stronghold. Leos is confused why the dragon is still moving from place to place. Elsewhere, Mr. Tansu reports to the local lord who has recently received a demand from the elf king to return lands that once belonged to the elves, which includes the dungeon. Tansu suspects the elves want the dungeon's unique spell of immortality. As the spell is likely to be held by the insane sorcerer, the Lord decides to delay the elves and support the adventurers until they defeat the sorcerer. Back in the dungeon, Leos starts to realize how difficult killing the dragon will be due to the absence of Falin, Namari, and Shuro. The decision is instead made to lure and trap it. The dragon finally appears after Senshi makes frog meat cutlets. The plan goes awry when Leos drops the cooking pot shield thanks to the dragon's fire breath, forcing the party to lead it to a trap Marcel has set up. When this fails, Kensuke panics and jumps out of reach, leaving Leos weaponless while Senshi's axe shatters on the dragon scales. Luckily, Senshi's chef knife is made of mithril, which Chilchuk ultimately uses to blind the dragon's left eye. With the dragon distracted, Chilchuk and Senshi grabs Kensuke and throw it to Leos before they are buried under rubble. With Marcel's magic, Leos manages to kill the dragon. However, he loses his leg in the process. While on the ground, Leos remembers how he first discovered Falin was able to communicate with ghosts after she rescued him. He abruptly awakens after Falin confusingly tells him goodbye and not to worry about her. After Marcel heals everyone, Chilchuk demands Leos eventually explain about his sword. The party then slowly carves the dragon up to reach the organs. Unfortunately, they discover the dragon staying awake for longer than normal sped up the digestion process, and all they find of Falin is her magic staff and her skeleton. Due to the complex rules of resurrection, the party is unable to take Falin's bones to the surface or fetch a necromancer. In desperation, Marcel decides to perform the spell herself using dragon flesh to regrow Falin's missing parts. This also reveals her strongest magic is ancient black magic, which she rarely uses as it is considered evil. Reassembling Falin's skeleton, Marcel performs the spell and Falin is resurrected. After getting over her confusion, Falin and Marcel bathe while Leos worries about how to safely return to the surface again. Chilchuk is conflicted over knowing Marcel can use illegal magic. Senshi prepares to cook the dragon, unaware the fuel that creates its fire breath has leaked, causing a giant explosion. Everyone survives thanks to Falin, who somehow used magic without an incantation. With the dragon now on fire, Senshi makes dragon soup, pizzas, and steaks. Falin easily accepts eating monsters, thrilling Leos, who also finally reveals the truth about Kensuke. As no one can decide what to do with it, Leos continues to keep it for now. As the party sleeps that night, another elf finds the dragon corpse and the remains of Marcel's forbidden ancient magic spell. Falin sleepwalks back to the dragon corpse where the elf is angry she failed to locate Lord Delgal. Leos recognizes the elf as the one from the living picture monsters, now revealed as the insane sorcerer who built the dungeon. The elf uses similar ancient magic as Marcel. As her body is made of dragon flesh, the elf is able to transform Falin into a new form to locate Delgal. Meanwhile, the rest of the party is captured by a group of orcs led by Chief Zahn's sister, Lead. While Marcel and Leos are unconscious, Chilchuk suggests lying to them so they agree to return to the surface instead of saving Falin. Lead is disgusted but agrees to take him to retrieve his belongings so he can leave alone. Chilchuk notices the dragon corpse has now disappeared entirely. Lead coaxes him to recount the story of how they killed the dragon. This causes Chilchuk to realize he is afraid of having to watch his friends die. After retrieving everyone's belongings, he tries to convince Leos to follow his plan. When Senshi approves of the idea, Leos reluctantly agrees. In a flashback, Mr. and Mrs. Tansu resurrected Kabru and his party. Without food, they attempted to return to the surface. However, they encountered an illusion spell that caused them to see each other as enemies. Once Kabru realized this, the culprits were revealed to be the labyrinth's corpse retrievers. After he killed them, he became unexpectedly depressed as similar scams caused less adventurers to bother entering the dungeon. Kabru gathered all the details he knew of the thieves and deduced they must be Leos' party. He also deduced Leos wanted to conquer the dungeon, but doubted Leos could handle owning a dungeon and its resources without harming society on the surface. The party were then attacked by a sea serpent but were saved by Shuro and his new party of women from his homeland in the east. Kabru volunteered his help to Shuro in finding Falin. Back in the present, despite 2 days having passed since killing the dragon, Leos and his friends remain trapped in the underground city where all the exits have mysteriously vanished and are in danger of starving to death. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and put a like.